It's the Brian and Kendra Show with Brian Cook and Kendra Cox of Keller Williams Realty Elite.
I am Kendra Cox.
I'm Brian Cook.
Between the two of us, we have over 30 years of experience.
Sharing real estate tips and advice. Right here on Classic Hits 1073.
All right, we're back. And we have Dakota with Chisholm Broadband, and we're going to talk about real estate and internet stuff.
Here we are.
Absolutely.
So we got here early, like 7 minutes.
A little bit.
We was talking about the different types of internet, or internet service providers. So there is, actually there is dial-in, right? That's the one we missed.
Dial-up. That would have been.
Is that still a thing?
No, I don't think so at all. It's obsolete.
One of my deals said that there's still. It said 60% of the farms, but I couldn't find the date of the article because I thought 60% of the farms.
Yeah, what is that from? Like 2000 at least?
Yes. So whatever it said. So there's dial-up. There's DSL, which is cable, and then there is broadband, which is like over the airwaves. Correct.
I'm not. I would assume so. Yeah.
That makes
I'm
sense.
not.
To
I'm
me,
not.
'cause
I'm not.
like shot.
I'm not that pretty.
I'm sitting over here thinking, I don't have any idea what you guys are saying. But then when Dakota says he doesn't know either, I feel a lot better.
I actually work for a broadband company, and I don't necessarily actually know the definition of
know-
broadband.
Well, this is going to be
But
awesome.
I know that our internet is the best. That's all I
Yes,
know.
That's it. So then we have fiber, which
Fiber
is
optic,
funny
Yes.
because my parents live like 8.5 miles into the depths and inner being of Harper County. Like You
Okay.
can't see the neighbor.
Because they're like miles away.
Miles away, and they've had fiber for like 10 years.
Ow. What?
Pioneer dug fiber. I mean,
Oh well, yeah, they were running like rural fiber
way
way
crazy.
before everybody else.
She was like 30 meg download, upload, whatever, 7 or 8 years ago. So it's like, man, I come to your house in Harper County, Countryville, and get better internet than we had in Woodward. I had 6 half the
Man.
time. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So then there's satellite, which
Satellite
is
was like HughesNet, and then like Dish Network.
Yeah.
They do their own.
and then they've got the
proprietary
new
thing.
Starlink or something.
Yeah, Starlink. So that's Elon Musk's whole deal, Tesla, and
And we have
all
some
that.
couple people in Woodward with that.
Actually, it's kind of funny. I'm not gonna say his name, but I know somebody who I see pretty much every day. He's got it, and
not
he's
Brandon,
having
probably.
no. He's
I know he has it too.
he may be affiliated with another internet company.
Oh.
And he has ordered his Starlink stuff so he can set it up. But we're not in Shattuck yet, so
Yes, that makes sense. But so there's lots of options, and so it comes back to feasibility. So when I built my brand new building on remodeled it, whatever I did with it, half of it's new.
yeah.
The building there at Oklahoma, where our office is, by Walgreens, I had option to put AT&T fiber or Pioneer fiber, were both in my easement. But the money it was going to cost me was
Just to get from the easement to your building.
to my building. They wanted like $700 a month or some number.
Wow.
It was insane amount
Yeah.
of money.
But see that's the downfall with fiber is because everything's got its pros and cons. I mean,
That was
it's just
commercial.
how it is. Yeah, but that's the downfall is it is so expensive because it's very expensive wire. It is very expensive
Yes.
wire, and not only are you paying for that, you're paying for the labor to, especially in urban areas, like downtown Woodward and areas like that, where it's all paved, concrete, things like that.
They have to bore it.
You have to
everywhere.
bore everything, and those machines are expensive in and of itself. So I mean, that's where the fiber price comes from because they usually have to rent.
Boring. That's how I feel about this talk right now.
Sorry,
Hey,
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just
So-
keeping it real.
so all that being said, I had them tie in broadband, Chisholm, hooked me up, and it's like, I think I like max me out. That way I don't ever have to, like $130 a month or something, shoot. And we've never had any, I realized how slow my computers were.
because they weren't keeping up with your
Right.
new internet.
You know, and the only time the internet that gets slow for me at the office is 4:30. Every day 4:30, everything slows
That's when
down.
all the kids get home.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, it's
That's
insane.
when all the kids get home.
It's
because
insane.
so the thing with line of sight radio, broadband, things like that, is it's all radio frequency.
Mhm.
I mean, it's all of our stuff's, like we have our own stuff that, we do. Other broadband companies have their stuff that they do. But basically it all boils down to wavelength and how many items you can have on a certain wavelength and things like that. There starts to be some interference.
Right.
And that's usually is what is happening. Is around that time, around 4:30, all the kids are getting home from school, getting on the computers, video games, Roku, whatever, just so they don't have to do their homework. And then, it dies out around, 5 or 6, whenever you're at home. That's usually everybody, well, I guess not now. Parents get, they're like, I'm home from work. What are you doing on that? And all that stuff. So that's usually when it dies out, but usually around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it'll kind of bog down a little bit again because everybody's, let's watch our nightly family movie together or stuff like that. So yeah, it's all about interference and there's just a lot going on at one time.
Right. And
it's just like a flow of water, trying to push a whole lot of water through a small point.
Yep.
There's a lot of pressure going on there.
Yep.
So
internet so we've noticed that when people come through town looking for homes, people call from other areas to Woodward, and they'll be coming out here showing houses. Man, one of the number one questions we get is can I get good internet service here? And there's been
absolutely
so there's been places where trees are in the way and houses are in the way, or it's getting substantially better with the line of sight deal. That's amazing. But even just a few years ago, we had a couple of houses that couldn't get in fact, we have one now that we're battling. I think you're involved in it. Like, we cannot get them service.
I've pretty well got it solved. So we're okay there.
Yes.
I think that's the whole important point. I mean, that's the real issue with even why we wanted to do this program, because we have buyers now that will not purchase a home if they cannot get internet at the speed that they need to work from home or whatever the case is, gaming even. I mean, it sounds frivolous, but that's a legitimate issue. Did you just laugh? No.
So
it's just a legitimate thing. This is how our lives are centered, and we'll go deeper into it in a minute. But they're not buying houses if they can't get the internet speed that they need.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that for sure. As I was an installer, I started out bottom rung
of course.
with Chisholm, and I'm coming into these people's homes, and there would be some times where I couldn't get them service because something was in the way, and they're like, I can't get internet, and people will get irate over it, and it's because, at the time I started installing, it was during this whole pandemic.
Right.
And so everybody was either at home or working from home, things like that. They need internet. They need decent internet to actually do these things.
And that certainly, that opened up a whole new world for us, the pandemic did, and shows us how very, very necessary that is. I was fortunate to be able to work from the office the whole time.
Yeah.
But legitimately, if I had to stay at home and work, my internet at the time would have not been sufficient for what we needed with my daughter's school and with my work, and it's insane. And that really it changed everything.
In my last house on the west edge of town, we ran off of a hotspot for years because AT&T had a bad line.
They have
Dish
bad lines all over that part of the neighborhood.
No, I'm not sure you even. Okay.
No, because I live in that neighborhood. I lived right behind him.
Yes.
And I had AT&T up until I was able to get my own service.
Sorry, AT&T.
Sorry, AT&T.
And Suddenlink, they had some issues. I figured out why they did. There was a local electric company that put all new lines through the home addition.
And they cut everything through there.
Oh
There's all
no!
kinds of
That alley right between our houses,
Yes.
they redid a whole. I ended up having to get a new AT&T line whenever I was still on AT&T because of that.
So after I sold my house and the new guy moved in, they ran a new AT&T to his house.
It's decent.
He's buzzed up, but he's only still getting 10 or something. So, but yeah, there's options now to make it quick. So
but
so off a mobile phone.
Yeah, mobile hotspots.
Mobile homes.
Mobile
Scare your
hotspots
mobile
are. I remember. My mom. She was a Sprint customer, and so she had one of the little MiFi cards.
That's what we used.
And it was a little Sprint MiFi card, and it was just on her phone plan, and you could watch like movies or get on Facebook, whatever, on your laptop in the car with this thing because it was just pinging off of cell towers. You know, back in 2004, 5, 6, whenever I was going to visit my mom, that was like new world stuff to me. Now I'm like, I can just turn on a personal hotspot on my phone.
Mhm.
You know, and I've done that where I didn't want to take up a whole lot of my mom's internet when I used to live with my mom a few years ago. A little more than few.
Last week.
No. But no, like I would do that whenever I'd want to game with my friends and stuff. I'd turn on my personal hotspot because I had unlimited data and unlimited hotspot, so I could just turn that on. Now, granted, I had to keep that sucker plugged in because that personal hotspot would drain that battery.
And it does and then they slow you way down.
Oh yeah. It bogs everything down, but you know, mobile hotspots they don't have the capacity
No.
to do full internet at a home at all times. If you're somebody who is maybe an over the road trucker and you're not home very often, and like you say you do get home, you want to watch a little Netflix or whatever, it's good to have a mobile hotspot because you can also take it on the road with you, sleep in your cab, you know, play it or whatever, or you can just watch it on your phone too. You know, it's really up to you, but it serves its purposes, but not for like home internet.
Sweet.
Absolutely.
All right, we're back, and it's the Brian and Kendra Show. We're here with Dakota with Chisholm Broadband, and we're talking about internet. I printed off a bunch of statistics and some research that was done. I'm probably supposed to quote all these people who wrote all this fancy stuff, but basically I'm not going to.
We're not writing a college research paper.
That's
You're
right.
okay.
No. So here's the deal. It says that the results of this one research said that high-speed broadband connection was, as it was important, up to 2.8% of the value of their home. So 2.8%.
Wouldn't
very much.
appreciate.
But if you're like a $200,000 house, that's
Yeah.
almost $5,600.
Yeah.
That's a chunk. And then if you get higher speeds, it can increase the value up more than 1% if you have a higher end speed.
Mm-hmm.
This other study, again, it was 3%. If you have, showed that the single family home with access to a 25 megabyte broadband connection would have a price about 3% more than a similar home that only had 1%, which is a ton. That's crazy. So it is worth it to put up a tower in your backyard if you had to.
Yeah, in some cases.
Yes.
I mean, because and honestly, it depends on the price of the tower as well.
I think
you have to consider that.
Yeah, like 2 years ago when I was looking at putting one over there on Brook Circle, it was like 20,000. I was like, yeah, let's do it. We need internet. All my neighbors are gonna love me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll charge them a fee. So, and you guys have some tricks to do.
We do. There. I mean, as an installer, you kind of have to be on your toes. I mean, literally sometimes because you're crawling through attics, walking on beams. You know?
Yeah, we stood on the top of my house.
Yeah, but
you
like
me?
on top,
Can you hear me?
like
now?
personally for my house, like to get my own service, I was working for Chisholm and still had AT&T, which was very frustrating. And I, mainly because we were paying for AT&T, and I could, I work for Chisholm and I can get it for free. But it was, I was trying to find a way, and then it really dawned on me whenever I was standing on top of my chimney. I could barely see the top of the tower, and it took me about 3 months to realize, because I checked initially, like when I first started working for Chisholm, I was like, all right, can I get Chisholm somewhere? And I thought I couldn't see one because there's a whole row of trees just to my south. I was wrong. I was just looking in the wrong spot because I forget that Drew Circle orientates a little bit differently. So I was looking off a little more what I thought was south, southeast, but I was looking more like east southeast. So, I was able to actually see the tower, so I just took a 10-foot pole, sat it on top of my chimney, put a radio to it, tested signal, and it was good. So as long as you have a clear line of sight, and we're pretty good.
And getting it.
Yeah, as soon as it's within our installable par, we're on it like that.
Yeah, and you've
Because
got
it's-
towers. You started getting towers everywhere. You've got them on top of both grain towers.
Yeah, we've got both grain elevators. We've got two huge towers on the south side of town. One's off of 22nd, one's off of 34th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a monopole on every school in
Right.
town.
So if you can see the Green Towers or those two towers or the school, if you can see them from your house, you can get internet.
Yes and no. So there
Don't
is
try to trick him,
there
Brian.
is a little bit of a snafu with that because Woodward sits in a bowl.
Yep.
Everything that we have on our equipment has to be down tilted a little because everything is in Woodward is in a bowl. So anybody really outside of Woodward, say like on the road that runs behind Merriman's, what is that, 43?
Yes.
If you go out east on 43, if you get even a mile past Hunter Road, you're not going to be able to hardly see anything because that's the plateau, and then Woodward's down here.
Yeah, didn't they not put one out there on the tower, water tower, or the rural water tower? By
We're working on stuff. You know, we're always consistently looking for more tower space because we know that Woodward needs better internet in rural areas. I mean, that's initially what we started out as, was like a rural internet provider.
Yeah.
We had a Facebook person, because we have our Facebook Live, and Trey said that Chisholm has been the best for them. He said because it's fast, affordable, and no matter the weather, that it always works. And I think that's another thing that, for those of us that had used other sources of internet, weather was negative for us sometimes.
Well, if you have, I mean, especially if like your water table, like if you got a lot of rain, I mean, you know, wireless internet can have some rain fade, but not much. But like if you have a really big rain and you have like older wire in the ground, your water table rises, your wire's in the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's really bad, you know, and that can tend to be problematic sometimes.
And so, the other thing is the amount of service, the amount of gigabytes you get.
Mm-hmm.
Megabytes.
Megabits per second.
Megabits per second.
That's, we sell speed.
Yes.
We don't actually sell.
That's better than
That's
crack.
illegal.
You two need just
That's
bring
like
it
the
down a
only time
notch.
I've spoken. Like,
Get in trouble. Okay, so and there's like our houses now are becoming more and more
smart?
smart.
Speaking of smart houses, get this.
Yes.
So, all right. So, speaking of, you know, broadband, earlier we mentioned, you know, all the people getting on at like certain times. It kind of bogs everything down. You can, in your routers today, like your new gaming routers and everything like that, you have something what's called QoS, or quality of service. You can actually allocate what, you know, how much speed goes where to each device and everything like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's pretty neat. I had to do that in my own home because we decided that we needed a new oven. I was like, all right, cool, yeah, that one's like from the 70s. Let's go ahead and get a new one. Well, I've got a smart oven.
Okay, so
And so I had
I
to
need
go
to know.
I had to go in and I had to use my QoS. I had to minimize that to 1 megabit per second for this stinking oven, just so it wouldn't pull the bandwidth from
but
everything
Dakota,
else.
what people really want to know is, will that smart oven keep my smoke detector from going off when I'm baking?
Or she just needs a smart smoke detector.
I mean, yeah, you might as well just go with a smart smoke detector
Turn
because,
it off and on.
well, I mean, with
Okay, I'll just keep it in the garage.
yeah, there you go. Just keep it in the garage and let her roll. Crack it.
So yeah, so internet is very, very important. It's crazy. It's just like, hey, do you have running water? No, we got internet. Yeah, we'll take it.
Right.
You know, it's one of them deals. So yeah, internet's very important. So if you are looking in town, make sure we ask the right questions, get the right people out to make sure the speeds you need to run your service in your house.
This could be part of the inspection period,
Yes.
so
Absolutely.
don't forget that.
Yeah, and that we can get anybody. I mean, we can get them out there. They can test the internet. They can test the speed before you purchase the house, so that you feel comfortable with what you're buying. So now we're going to the pumpkin drop.
Now we're going to the pumpkin. Well, I'm not.
You're not. You could maybe drive by and get to glance as they drop it. on the way.
Maybe.
Well, thanks for having us. No, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for
Dakota.
having me.
You're welcome.
It was a
And
pleasure.
all you people over the intrawebs, thanks for listening to us today, and we'll see you or hear you next week.